Live, baby.
Go live, go live. Go, go, go.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome aboard. It is Monday, June 15th, and this is Virtual Collage Jam. Welcome aboard. So, hope you've been doing well. Hope you've had a good week. And I just have to say, you guys, this past week, the collages have been off the dial. I didn't get to commenting. I did take a quick look through this morning. I will comment, but I'm going to give an overall comment right now, which is like, wow. I was moved to tears several times looking through the collages, and I was just blown away by how beautiful the sentiments, beautiful the artwork, beautiful this group is. So thank you. Great work. Keep it up.
Oh, I finally see the live one.
So, what have we got for you today? So we're working on trees, but actually before I get to that, I wanted to talk just a little itty bitty bit about last week's. And so I still have a ways to go. So given that, but here's how far I've got so far. I am working on the green circle of my sort of collage empathy sign. And that is based on this sign. I got some back from the fabricators on actually made. So this is a 12 by 18 parking sign that I will be displaying at this Saturday on my front lawn as part of the National Arts Drive. So if you're curious about that, nationalartsdrive.com. There's still time to participate as an artist. If you have a balcony, if you have a front yard, if you have anything that is sort of visible from the street, it's a national event. It's been postponed. I think I might have mentioned this before, but it is going to be on this Saturday. In our time zone, it's between 4 and 7, so it's happening nationwide. So at West, it's earlier in the day, but our time slot is 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And
Daylight time.
Daylight time. I always forget. So, where was I with that? So I'm going to be displaying some work, and anyone else can display work anywhere where you can have it seen. And they have it set up so that people can, you give them your website or your PayPal, a bunch of things like that, and people can either contribute. If they drive by and say, oh, I like that stuff, they can actually give you a donation or get in touch with you to actually buy work. So it's meant to be like a socially distanced kind of thing. So that's that. And I'm seeing tons of people here. So Kim, yeah. As always, we're joined by Kim Lee Ko on the chat, and she's been, her fingers have been already tapping like crazy. What have we got from our crowd today?
Gerda is here.
Hey, Gerda.
Watching with bated breath.
Well, don't bait the breath anymore. Take a breath and enjoy some collaging.
Rebecca says hi.
Hey, Rebecca, beautiful piece, and as well, Gerda, lovely pieces this week.
And Annie's here.
Annie, hi Annie.
Mia's
two pieces,
here.
I think. Hello, Mia.
Ricky's here from
hey, Ricky.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, and 2 pieces. I like the layered one with the sort of different skin-colored strips across the We Are One. I love that. That was beautiful.
Valerie's here.
Hey, Val. Welcome back. And I love the birds out of the cage. That was simple and eloquent and beautiful.
Kathleen says, hello from London. Your empathy collage, Cal, is looking fabulous.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it is underway. Stay tuned.
Jane has joined us.
Hey, Jane.
Says hi.
Hello, Jane. You had a couple of pieces too, I think.
Annie asks, will we be able to find you on that map?
Yes. So I know I have like they're going to have a mobile app that people can drive around using, and it will have pins where artists are. I don't know whether, yeah, I think it must say who's where. So but I haven't actually seen it yet because I don't think they've released it. So
right, but the website I know has a map with markers for participants.
Yes.
And just remember, we're in Brampton.
We're in Brampton. Yeah,
So,
we'll probably be one of the few artists in Brampton, I would imagine.
Sadly, it may be a bit of a wasteland. Yeah. And of course, it's happening. Well, I guess my virtual studio party will have ended like a half hour before.
So
Cal will be busy.
I may have to not be manning our chat for most of it.
Françoise says,
hey,
hi,
Françoise.
Great to see you again.
Yes, love the shoes pieces. Love those. They're great. Yeah, they were great.
She got a lot of great comments on those. Mira says, hi, artists.
Hey, Mira, and I saw your box in our class, but I'm glad you posted it in Collage Jam too. That's going above and beyond, having a 3-dimensional piece with like 4, 5, 6 sides, right? And it's amazing. Yeah.
Adele says hi.
Hello, Adele.
And look who's here in the chat, Edith Malacour.
Hey, Edith, welcome aboard. Bonjour. Bienvenue. That's about it.
It's actually the evening where she is.
Bisous.
She says, sorry, where is she? Hello, both of you. I'm happy to join you with my Palestinian friend, Musa.
Oh, lovely.
Welcome,
Musa.
Welcome
aboard, Musa.
I hope I'm pronouncing
her name
right.
I'm sure we're messing it up, but our heart is in the right place, I promise.
Marion Stevens says, hi, all.
Hey, Marion.
Was in another Zoom meeting last Monday. Happy to be with you all
welcome
this
back.
Afternoon.
I mean, that's our reality these days, isn't it? Like, I have conflicting Zoom meetings or classes or whatever, right? I hear that from a lot of people now. It's like, I had to cut yours on the replay because this other one was, and I had to be in that. And I'm like, we're not leaving our house much, but we're
busy. And you've also tried Google Meet.
Yeah, I have done Google Meets a couple of times. I prefer Zoom, I think, on so far, but it's good that there are more than one, that there's competition, right? So,
hi from Rena.
Hey, Rena.
And Joyce sends her greetings from BC.
Hello, welcome back. And hopefully Lillian will be joining us to hold down the center.
Yeah, we need something to hold down.
I just ordered barbecue parts from Winnipeg, which was funny because we have an old barbecue, so they're harder to come by. And it's like, okay, well, if it's free shipping from there, what's the big deal, right? So yeah.
Judy says hi
hey,
from
Judy.
the Port Carling area.
Yay.
Ricky says thank you. It means a lot.
Oh. Yeah, welcome back.
Means a lot to have you here, Ricky.
Yeah, absolutely. So, welcome along.
Debbie Moses just joined and asked if you can repeat the name of the show that you're in this Saturday.
Okay, so it's so for anyone who missed it, I was starting at more or less right off the top, so you might have missed it. I am taking part, and you guys there's time to take part as well, in the National Arts Drive, which is on Saturday. It's an event where artists can register to show their work anywhere where people can drive by it. So if you have a front yard, if you have a balcony, anywhere where people can see it as they're driving by, you can display work. You can have your PayPal or other ways that drivers, that's what they call the audience. They call them drivers. They can drive around their neighborhood or as far afield as they can manage in the 3 hours. It's 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, but it's happening across the country. And in fact, it's happening in the US and Mexico as well. It was originally scheduled for the 6th, but they postponed it to give the Black Lives Matter movement some room, because not that it's gone away, but it was really peaking then, and they didn't want to steal its thunder at all. nationalartsdrive.com for information, whether you want to drive around your neighborhood, see what people are exhibiting, or become an exhibitor. Now, it's also performing arts, so there will be musicians out there playing, or any way that they can offer their art up to people driving by. So yeah, so it's a really cool thing. It's a nice way to do something do something in this that's actually not just a virtual online gallery, which is what a lot of artists are trying to do these days. So yeah. Okay.
All right.
We have more.
Yeah.
But wait, there's
of course. Joy asked if it'll be out there in BC.
Yes,
We've answered
yes,
that
it will,
question.
yeah.
I answered it in the chat as
Yeah.
well. Philippa says, hi, Kim and Cal.
Hey, Philippa.
Yes, we're all zooming around like crazy.
Yeah. Zooming around from our couch or our office desk. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm spreading in to fill my couch.
Yeah.
Zara says good afternoon.
Hey, Zara.
Thanks for joining us, Zara.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Debbie says, hi, everyone. Thanks for having this wonderful course.
Oh, I'm delighted to have it. It's such a great community.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. So I'm going to, famous last words, I realize, but I am going to try to do some quicker collages because I often find myself bogged down and then I don't get things done. I've got a backlog of like, how many weeks have I not posted something? So I'm going to try and address that a little bit. My teaching schedule has opened up a little bit this coming week. So I'm going to try and finish some of the started collages, but today I'm going to try and do them sort of small and reasonably quick. So what am I going to be working with? I'm going to try and keep it, again, I like it when I keep it simpler. So I have this is an old reference book that this isn't the exact copy that we had, but we used to always have one of these. My parents were big birders and naturalists. That's what I grew up with. So they had reference books for birds and trees and so on. And this was one of them. In fact, this is a dust jacket, but I really like the sort of more minimalist period design of the actual cover. That's what I remember.
What a great cover.
Yeah, it's like a simple, brilliant cover.
Classic
yeah,
design.
Really classic, like the script and then the word trees and then just so elegantly simple. So this has sentimental value for me, even though I didn't really look in it much. And I got it out and didn't look at it much when I was growing up. I know my parents always went to it. Oh yes, it's a this or this, and you know.
They loved a good reference book.
They were reference book fanatics. So so I got it out and I looked at it. Wow, the photos aren't that great. You know, it doesn't hold up, but it has sentimental value. So it would always have a diagram and some photographs of leaves and twigs and the a diagram of where it was present.
Where it grows.
Where it grows. Yeah, man, I'm losing it already. So I made a bunch of copies, black and white copies out of that to play with. I'm going to rifle through this, which is just something that is in my box of collage books. So it's from naturalist photographs from Ontario. It's tons of trees, not surprisingly, as well as wildlife. And then I've grabbed just a few green bits from my scrapbooking. So that's what I'm going to be playing with. I'll back this up so we can actually see some of what I'm doing, and maybe some of me as well. And Kim's probably going to pass along some.
Joy thinks the National Arts Drive sounds great and very encouraging to drive around. Yes,
it's put on by raw artists, and I happen to know the young woman who's young. It's all relative. She's young to me, but she's a real dynamo, Michelle Bilo, and she organizes all the raw events across Canada, which are showcases for artists, like all the stripes of artists. They're a lot of fun. I took part in one a few years ago, and so it's going to be well organized and. Yeah, so I'm quite hopeful that it'll be a good day.
Lillian says hi.
Hey, Lillian. Yay. Hi to the peg from the T-Dot.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with my 6-inch format, keep things as See, I thought that was too thick. Great, I've got two
Got
sheets
two.
instead.
There
Yeah,
you go.
that's good. Actually, two is better. I always like to have some black. I kind of think of it as I'm no musician, but I kind of think of it as the base, like the real, like holding the bottom of any sort of piece of artwork. So I know a lot of people shy away from it, but I like to have some in there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and get a whole bunch of them going. Maybe I shouldn't get way too many done, so I'd spread myself too thin. But maybe 3. I think let's start with 3. Does that sound
3
sensible?
sounds okay. Yeah.
Kim, the wife who knows me very well, I think when I said a whole bunch, she was like,
You just finished saying you wanted to actually be able
finish
to
something, yes, or at least stand a chance. You get closer, yes, exactly. I've been feeling rather tired recently, and I think at least part of it is we had a pretty hectic schedule, which is great. Doing our online events and our online teaching, but I noticed because I was so busy in the last several weeks compared to the first few weeks of isolation, that I haven't had much time to do my own work, and I think that is partially why I'm flagging, because I'm not feeding myself. So I'm going to try and rectify that a little bit. So why don't you let Kim know in the comments what you are, how you're going to spin the trees theme. Are you working with drawings? Are you collaging from non-tree, like making a tree image out of non-tree materials? Are you using photographs? I'm going to use a few diagrams because I like diagrams. What are your thoughts? And of course, remember, it's always optional. If trees aren't your thing, make something mechanical or human or whatever, right? So.
Anne says, hi, everyone. And hey, Rakoff, great topic. Can't wait to see what results from it.
Yeah, me too.
I'm very fond of trees myself.
Yes. I was saying to Kim that it's too bad she has to man the chat, because she's been doing a lot of work. Her main thing for the last little while has been anatomical hearts, and but she's also been finding things that relate to them, like veins and natural patterns like branching trees, coral, watersheds, rivers, that behave in that same sort of branching, ever smaller fashion. And so trees are a big thing for her too. So it's kind of, you'll have to do one after the fact.
Yeah. Philippa says, I know what that feels like. When I was teaching full time, I didn't have energy or time to create. Felt tired a lot.
Yeah, and I notice if I can, and it's always work in progress, but if I can even feed myself like a little, like, okay, tonight or just this 1 hour this morning or whatever, do a little bit for myself, it raises my energy significantly. That's a lovely image right there. That might have to become part of the equation.
Joy says, yes, life is opening up again. Many distractions.
Yes, yeah. Kim and I were talking about this, and we're going to play it conservatively because we're quite concerned that that things will open up a little bit and then there will be another spike in cases. And I hope that isn't the case. I really do. But I fear that it might.
And because I have health issues, I have to be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means Cal has to be careful.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever Kim gets a cold, it goes to her chest. I get a head cold and it goes away, and she gets it and goes straight to her chest. So we just are going to play it safer.
Yeah. Mia says, only tired? You must be both exhausted from all the work you've been doing, teaching and volunteering your time. with these amazing jams and parties. My heroes. Aw, Mia.
Thank you, Mia. That's
Thank
really
you.
lovely. It feeds us too.
Yeah.
So it goes both ways.
There is a balance.
Yeah, there is a balance. There is a balance. I'm not sure we've
We
perfectly
haven't
got
found
it yet, exactly, but
That's funny. I'm taking some time off after this week, and Cal will be taking some time off, but with a week of teaching in the middle. So
yeah, next week I teach a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing for 3 hours each for Nielsen Park, which is good. A collage, though it's full with a waiting list. I don't know about the waiting list, but I think it is because it was a free. They got a grant so that they could offer it for free, which is lovely. But it did mean it filled up pretty quickly.
yeah. Ricky says, a bit off topic, but I'm excited because I was just acquainted with Harry Enchen's photo collages. He's amazing and Canadian. Do you know him?
I saw someone posted that in our group, right? So I didn't have a chance to go to the link, but I think it was Sherry, right? Sherry Ricola, who posted the link to Harry Enchin. So no, I'm not, but I'm gonna go and check them out. Absolutely. So
Philippa says she finds that being creative generates energy.
exactly.
And Adele says she's going to be using monoprints and magazines.
Oh, that's a nice contrast. Yeah, that'll be great, actually.
And thanks for letting us know that. Anybody else wants to share what they're working with, please do in the chat here. Excuse me. Oh, dear. Francoise says, I've decided to do a tree of life like in Mexican folk art, which is supposed to represent the creation of the world with animals, flowers, fruit, and all kinds of things.
Wow. So yeah,
great.
lovely symbolic.
The tree of life crops up in various forms in many cultures for not surprising reasons.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
But yes, the Mexican tradition sounds like a great place to spring from. Jane says, everywhere it's opened up a bit, there has been an increase in COVID cases. Yeah, and
yeah,
we're going to be conservative. That's all there is to it. So, well, it's a beautiful tree.
The white pine
tree. Yeah. Wow. Stunning. Did you show it?
No, I didn't. And I was just thinking, did you want me to? So this is from that book. A nice windswept white pine.
No, feel free to use it. Just
okay.
I'm remarking that it's beautiful.
it is beautiful.
As soon as you start from the black, it's just like
it's more dramatic.
Yeah. Mia says, I love the tree Cal has, the black and white tree.
Yeah.
Is it a photograph?
Yes.
From a magazine? I think it's from a book, isn't it?
Yeah,
where is that book? There it is.
It's from this book, which is just in my collage pile, and I thought I can use that. So it's Ontario. It probably dates from the, I guess, the 80s. Or
it looks like the early 80s.
1988, yep.
Okay. Yeah. It definitely had a key publisher era feel. Our key publisher era.
Yeah, McClelland and Stewart, but definitely that era. Yeah. As graphic designers, we sort of recognized what was popular then because that was part of the time we were practicing.
Hot young designers. And trust me, Cal was hot.
And trust me, so was she. Much more so than I, but.
Oh, yeah, right.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Marion says, I've got two ideas. One is the tree as a metaphor for human life. Lovely.
Yeah.
And Joy says, I'm using sketches, photos, photo cards. And she thinks the Tree of Life idea sounds lovely.
Yeah, I agree.
And Mia says, oh, good idea. I have some Ontario tree books. Well,
Yeah,
you've got resources.
You're set. Set to jet, as they say.
As you are fond of saying.
I am fond of saying.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
And if your dad would hear, he'd say she's golden.
Yep. Yeah, that's better. Skinnier is better. Skinnier is better.
Yeah. Makes it more exquisite.
Oh, well,
that paper wasn't in very good shape.
Maybe it was already had a.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try that again. Well, fortunately, there's a fair bit of it, so
yeah,
I'll actually hold it this time. There we go.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of a hangover cough from.
Yeah, Kim had a bad coughing fit last night, so her sleep wasn't as good as she would have hoped, I don't think. All right.
It looks so bright by comparison with everything else, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
It's amazing.
So this is another thing about color that's so fascinating to me. This is a very muted green, right? Or pair of greens, right? They're not strong at all. In fact, when I look at it on the screen, then it actually looks brighter than it actually is. But in this context where I've got black and white and a very, very, very muted piece, it looks so zingy. And color is relative to what's around it. So, you know, if I put this in with like Fauvist colors, really strong colors, it would look like bland, right? In that context, for instance, it is pretty dull. So it's fascinating. Color is endlessly interesting to me.
Joy says in BC, we have arbutus trees, soft wood, shades of cream color, no bark, great shapes and branches, has berries in the spring, and birds love them.
I've heard of arbutus, but I don't.
I said to her, we'll have to look out for them the next time we're out west.
I wonder if they're in native trees of Canada.
You want me to look it up? Remember, we had been planning to do a road trip out west this summer.
Yeah, that was
before
before COVID, we were
COVID
gonna
happened.
do a trip out to visit our beloved mountains and
some dear friends.
some friends in Grand Prairie, and where we both did a residency, an artist residency.
And another one in Nelson.
And Kim did one in Nelson. Which...
No, not a residency, but John's
right.
Nelson.
Sorry, I was thinking Wells.
Friend is
yes,
in Nelson.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Sculptor friend.
It would be fun to see Wells again.
Yeah. Wells is...
What's the gold mine town that it's near? Adjacent
Barkerville?
Barkerville, yeah.
I think it's Barkerville.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I need to go get my glue sheet.
Ah, right. Oh, I got to do a lot of drawing from this trees book, Cal. A lot of drawing.
Are you finding some great stuff in it?
Yeah, stuff I really want to draw.
Well, that's gold then, isn't it?
It is. Huh. But I should go to the index. Arbutus. There, 268.
Our reference book is already coming in handy.
Okay, you know what's really annoying though? It doesn't show the tree.
What?
It shows the leaves.
Okay, right.
And the fruit cluster.
Right.
But no picture of an actual tree. So we're not going to be able to identify from.
No, you'll have to wait till fall and look at the leaves on the ground.
It has leaves, as we would describe them as leaves, but they remain green all winter.
Oh.
Well, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a West Coast only tree.
Right.
And only like the southern part of BC. The island and the mainland, but only the southern part. Even on the island, it's only the southern half.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's really like
it likes milder weather, obviously. So interesting. Huh. But I love that cover. I'm gonna have to scan that in just to. All right, we've got some more chat. Mia says, every time I think of today's topic of trees, Tolkien's talking trees come to mind.
Right, yes.
Yes, those are the Ents. I love them and cannot get them out of my mind. Oh, they represent something so important to Tolkien, who was such a
sort of
proponent of the natural world.
Yeah.
And the whole, you notice the bad guys use a lot of machines.
Yeah.
Whereas the elves and wizards and so on are very tapped into the natural world. Anyway, I'm with you. I love the Ents too. And they're so heroic in the scene at the tower that Saruman occupied after he turned bad, and they cleaned it out. Well, that's a nice thing to remember, Mia. Thanks for sharing that.
How many times did you read Lord of the Rings when you were young, Kim?
So between grade 5 and grade 8, I read it 14 times. All 3 books. Joy says, yes, check it out. She means the arbutus trees. They're called madrone in the U.S.
Ah.
And they mention that in the Native Trees book.
That's interesting because there's a typeface, a wood type typeface by that name.
There is.
But I didn't recognize that name. So Now I know.
And it's a
Thank you.
Western style woodblock type of
Oh, right,
typeface,
right, yes.
Joy adds, love the contrast you have, Cal. Black and white are wow.
They are.
Yeah.
They
and
are.
Cal loves a nice contrast.
Yeah, I am a sucker for contrast. It's true.
Annie says she's doing a watercolor underpainting and a collage tree with well-wishing messages.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Joy says she's going to send us a pic.
Yay, excellent.
Thank you, Joy. It's so annoying that the book doesn't have a picture of a tree.
Yes.
Like, it is supposed to be a tree book. Ricky says, there are many fallen trees around my neighborhood because of a recent storm. I'm thinking of drawing on the idea of fallen trees. That's a great idea. I like the idea because fallen trees are not what you expect or think of first thing when you think of, I'm going to do something on trees. And also
yeah, exactly. It breaks the expectation nicely.
And it's so responsive to her reality, what's actually going on in her world. And that is such a great thing for an artist to do. So
exactly.
Great idea, Ricky. Annie Lakoff this time. It was Annie Bentley before.
I think it's Anne, isn't it?
I'm sorry, Anne Lakoff. Yeah, sorry. My eyes are a little blurry. I guess.
Don't worry.
I think I'll do something on the horizontal trees of High Park. I've been taking photos of them. They are left lying after they fall, and I'll cut them out and recreate a different landscape. Lovely.
Yeah.
And that works with the research you've been doing by taking photos of them. So
you and Ricky could have a little show together of horizontal trees. They were fallen trees. Or yeah.
Gerda says she's been playing with the contrast of the image of construction cranes viewed through trees and various compositions.
That's right. And that speaks to that thing we were talking about just a minute ago with the Lord of the Rings, the sort of mechanical man-made machines versus the nature-made natural trees. So yeah, they're both things reaching skyward, just in very different ways.
They're analogous and fundamentally different at the same time.
An artist friend of ours, some of you guys may know her, Nancy Farrell, did a long-running series of paintings looking at hydro towers, the sort of all those mechanical structure with all the girders and the various different structures, and then how they were similar and different from trees.
She was really into the complexity.
Yeah.
And so it was tough painterly problem solving to get the images to work, but they were fascinating.
Yeah.
And of course she did an excellent job. That's what she was working on when we first met her in Peter Kalisnik's class. Am I right?
It's quite a while ago now.
It was a long time ago. Mia, tree of life, tree with well-wishing messages, fallen trees, walking trees, recreated trees, machine versus man trees. I love this jam. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It's fruitful.
Rebecca says, because kids always tell me that trees help us breathe, I'm working with that idea of trees and breathing. That's a beautiful one, Rebecca. Yeah.
And something for you to think about too, Kim.
Yeah. Definitely. Because I cough and sputter my way through this collage jam. Just so you know, it's not COVID.
Yes.
It's very difficult having respiratory and coughing issues that are unrelated to the pandemic.
Yes, because everyone's on edge.
Yeah. And also means you need to, like, it can disguise something too, right? So Mia says, aha, fruitful trees.
Yeah, sorry, Mia. Mia culpa.
Yeah.
No, mea culpa,
Mea
not Mia.
culpa.
Not Mia. Yeah.
That's right. Joy says, each tree is as unique as you, with a little tree branch emoji. It's true. They are.
As Jan Arden's mother always used to quip, yes, dear, you're unique, just like everybody else.
I follow Jan Arden on Twitter because she's amazing.
She's
she has a
incredibly funny too.
She's
right?
very funny. She also has a big heart. So
Yes.
you know, it's got both in it. So if any of you are on Twitter, I recommend Jan Arden's feed. For the Americans joining us, Jan, you may well not have heard of Jan Arden, but she's a very significant. She's our age, Cal's and my age, and she's a singer-songwriter. She did have one hit that I think ranked in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
"Good Mother."
Yeah.
I think. But she's just soulful and brilliantly funny. Like, she's been on TV a lot in that capacity as well.
I wonder, she might be on Spotify. I don't know. Is that album called Living Under June?
Yeah, Living Under June was her big
Big
of
album,
breakout
yeah.
album.
But I definitely haven't heard much of her since. I mean,
no, because she refused to follow along with the record company's ideas about what women artists need to be.
Yeah.
That they need to be skinny and all about the bump and grind, basically. And that is so not her. Like, she's gorgeous in many ways. And partially because she's authentically herself. Annie says Jan Arden's Instagram has awesome photos of her countryside and home. Oh, that's great. I'll have to check that out.
Take that up. Yeah.
Because Twitter is such a word-based medium, so there are artists like me on it, but
it seems it's not particularly given to visual art.
There are pockets of it. So the Sci Art community, which is the science-based artist community, is very active and well populated on Twitter. Yeah, because science is well represented on Twitter. So it's a natural partnership.
That makes sense.
And so I've started to tap into that, thanks to my dear friend Elaine Whitaker, who's my colleague at Redhead Gallery, who's a brilliant Sci artist, shown all over the world, and just does gorgeous, thoughtful, sensitive work. And she's been wonderfully generous, sort of tapping me into various things. Because my heart-based work is definitely science-based art, because it's
about anatomical aspects.
Yeah, I
right?
riff off of the anatomical attributes. Anyway, so Twitter's good for that, but Instagram is generally better for
generally
artists.
The artists.
Yeah.
More likely for more
Much
use.
more. The responses I get on Instagram are vastly greater than on any other
Twitter.
social media, or Facebook for that matter. Facebook is very tepid by comparison, partly because of how Facebook manages things. Mia says, I think she might mean Jan's mother wants to be made into a diamond after she dies. Heard her say that a couple of times. Not sure if she was joking. She did actually pass away, if you mean Jan Arden's mother. Yeah, after I think she had Alzheimer's for a while, and living next door to Jan. Jan helped out a lot, but ultimately she did pass away, so she doesn't have either of her parents anymore. But yeah, I think her mother was very funny. I think that's why Jan's so funny. Joy says, I'll include an arbutus in my collage. See if you can find it.
That's great.
I love that. Mia said, would love to see one. Arbutus is the only native broadleaf evergreen tree in Canada. Another common name is madrone, a Spanish word for the strawberry tree, of which arbutus is a ... One example, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I had this instinct of looking at that little map of getting out a paint pen and drawing a close-up on that map onto the piece you put on the thing there. Because I'm such a mixed media kind of girl.
You are.
Joy says, you learn so much in this collage, Jan. Media, music, trees.
Yeah. It is pretty funny, but it's great too, right?
It's fun having a relaxed, wide-ranging conversation,
Exactly.
I think. Mia says, I am the curious type. There is a trailing arbutus epigaya, maybe. Epigaya repens. Other common names, creeping mayflower. Now I need to see one in real life. You and me both, Mia. But I'll start with the picture that Joy shares. Common in Ontario? Really? Arbutus? Wow. That's very interesting. Jane has a question for you, Cal.
Uh-oh.
She asked, do you ever, and she has ever in all caps, use scissors? I'm working with gum, candy wrappers, black scraps collaging onto verdigris.
I do, Jane, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Not very often, it's true.
But you did see him tear something, right? I mean, that's loosey-goosey. Jane didn't finish, and anyway, she meant antiqued copper. Yeah, the verdigris copper. I gotcha. Which is such a beautiful color, isn't it? The only problem with the verdigris copper is that you have to lose the original copper to get it, which I also love. So Mia adds the creeping kind. Oh, the creeping kind is common in Ontario. And maybe it's because it's the creeping kind that I don't recognize it.
As such.
Yeah, so I'll definitely look out for that. Mia adds, some people use special tiny scissors for collaging. Yeah, so tiny scissors, if they're good and sharp, will allow you to get incredible detail. But Cal, whenever he needs detail, is going to use that knife you see him using, because that's his We both have so many decades of using them. When we were graphic designers, we had to use them a lot, hour after hour. So we built up skills, you know. That's why teaching knife skills comes up in some of my courses, probably in Cal's too.
Yep. Guilty as charged.
I don't think it's a guilt thing. It's a good thing, though. Oh, so you're cutting out the maple leaf.
I am.
Good. And watching you cut these things out, I just want to get making some stencils and masks again.
Yep.
Been making a lot of stencils and masks for the Jelly Jam course that just ended last week, and it's just such a fun groove to get into. Do you have some painter's tape there?
I do.
Good. Oh, and I was going to suggest if you slide the white pad over, you can slide what you're working on over, and people will be able to see it better.
Be in some semblance of visibility. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry to everybody that I didn't notice it earlier.
Sorry, I got absorbed in what I was doing there for a moment.
Yeah, well, that's good, but
yeah,
I should have been on top of that. Lillian says, I found a tiny scissors in a Chinese store, foldable too, great for travel. It qualifies under the parameters for carry-on.
Right.
Excellent. Those are the kind of scissors that every collage artist needs.
Yep, travel scissors.
Yeah. I have a pair that were approved for TSA.
Toronto School of Art?
No. I think they're made by Fiskars, the one I have, so they're likely to be a decent pair of scissors too. I mean, I don't know. They might now allow a scissors blade below a certain size, but before it was not just the size; it had to meet other specifications. So, Mia says, I like using both scissors and X-Acto knife, but the snap-off blades on the new knives scare me. I think I need to get safety glasses to get over it. That's one of the reasons why I teach knife skills in my courses anytime it's useful to use a knife, because there are safe ways of doing the snap-off blades, and I've never needed safety glasses because of good practices, Mia. But obviously, if it makes you feel more comfortable, then by all means.
I didn't actually demonstrate it, but when you are snapping, at least the smaller utility knives, not the big ones. The big ones you need pliers for, but these, if you just put this blade snapper on it and then put it right down on your work surface and snap it down, it only goes down. So safety glasses are never a bad idea. But if you're doing it in the air, never do it in the air. Exactly. If you're doing it in the air, stop and never do it again. Always break it down towards and I should have actually made a point of it, but when I did it there, it just was right there on my surface, and then I grabbed a piece of tape and folded it up safely. Yeah. So that it can be then disposed. It's in there somewhere.
See, it won't hurt anybody now because it's wrapped up in painter's tape. So.
But yes, I understand.
And when you aren't knowledgeable about how to do it safely, I think it's a very good instinct to feel nervous about it.
Yeah.
Joy says, good to know about knives. And Mia says, thank you for the lesson. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
got an actual bright green.
I have a bright sort of ersatz green, which I thought would be kind of a fun counterpoint to naturalness.
Yeah.
Kim, you're busy clicking. What are you working on there? Or should I ask?
Well, there's a little lull in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
I was just checking on it.
Great. I just heard on, I just got an email this morning that Queen West Art Crawl, which is an outdoor art exhibit that I've taken part in the past.
For years, actually.
For a few years now, yeah. Is not going to go ahead this year, unfortunately. So they're going to do an online version. I know a lot of art tours are like studio tours or events are now doing that. I think the Riverdale Art Walk that normally happens in June is doing that or did that this year as well.
Yeah. Toronto Outdoor Art Fair is doing an online one.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah.
I knew they were doing, I thought they were actually doing, for going ahead. I wasn't sure whether that makes more sense.
Well, that's what I've noticed in my social media feed.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I put in an application to the Hamilton Supercrawl. I haven't heard back, but I think I can't imagine that they're going to go ahead either. So they're also in September, like Queen West Art Crawl. So.
Ricky has a question. Love your questions.
Fire away, Ricky.
Is there any similarity between knife skills for the kitchen and knife skills for art and collaging?
What a great question.
Only really I think the only analogous one would be for decorative vegetable cutting.
Yeah.
That's the closest, I think.
There's not too much food that's very thin that I mean I am not a chef in any way. I'm responsible for the bulk of what we eat, but that is a far cry from being
but when you think about, we do have friends who are chefs, and
yeah,
you know, you have slicing, chopping, peeling, cutting. But carving, I think, is so there are some extraordinary, especially in Asia, extraordinary traditions of carving vegetables into various forms, and that I'd say is the closest.
I
They can do it with surprisingly large knives too,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
really, so that's a big difference right there.
I mean, I guess an understanding of how a knife works and various resistances of different kinds of material, like food or paper or cardboard, have like some cuts very easily and some doesn't. And so how do you modulate pressure?
Also, the resistance you get and can modulate with the angle that the knife is at. Less so for X-Acto knife, more for this, which becomes like a bit of a spring because it's long. You can have the blade be longer.
Right.
So there are certain kinds of uses I extend the blade longer and use the spring-like action of it.
So for instance, what Kim's talking about is the fact that this I'm not going to do a lot of it, but it has a bit of flex to it when it's extended. So for instance, with this collage, right, I wrapped paper around, so there were bits sticking out because I wanted to have the paper wrap to the edges. So to cut that off when the glue was dry, I would flip it over like this and hold it down, not quite square, a little down like that, so that there's real pressure on the edge. And then I'd use my knife like this and sort of let the spring mean that it's flush up against. My hand isn't absolutely
so it's a
flush.
Flat cut.
So that the knife is actually cutting straight down, and it gives you a nice clean cut. So that is one thing that's a little different than, but I'm not sure how analogous they really are.
I would say that if there was a chef who did art, they would be very sensitive to that resistance factor of different materials that we were talking about. Also to how sharp or dull the blade is. So this is another thing about knife skills. Dull blades are ineffective and less safe.
They're more dangerous because you have to put more pressure on them.
And they're not cutting.
So
force is going.
So you're putting more force, and then if you slip as you're using a really sharp knife, it's likely to be a small slip. But if you're putting lots of pressure on a knife because it's dull, then it's going to suddenly do something you don't want to do. I've carved pumpkins using X-Acto knives and using these knives. So I think there's a little bit of sort of patience and precision that can translate over into more three-dimensional stuff like food, but only really with carving or decorative stuff like basic chopping and so on. I don't think so, that I can think of.
Joy says about the canceled event, that's sad to hear. It's always so much fun to visit art shows, be inspired, and meet new people.
Yeah, agreed.
Jane says, I just got a rotary cutter, haven't used yet, maybe in Cal's upcoming class next week. But is there anything specific it's good for, like cutting rounds? Well, it's actually really good at cutting straights.
It depends on whether this is what you mean. So this is a rotary cutter, which is great for straights. If you're talking about like a compass type attachment, then that's great for circles. She said
rotary, not circle cutter.
So these are great. Quilters use these a lot because they cut fabric very nicely. And we used it a fair bit for one of your scrolls, I think, when we were cutting paper that was already glued with medium, so it was actually pretty tough. And we had to do long, was awesome. And we had to do long cuts, straight cuts on a long straight edge, and it was several feet. So we'd do like a 3-foot section, then another 3-foot section. Kim is probably better versed to talk about them, so I'm going to let her do that because I use them only occasionally. So over to you, Kim.
So I got my first one because my grandmother was a quilter, and there's so many good things. So they come in different sizes. That's a good thing. So that's helpful for thicker materials versus thinner. Use a bigger blade for thicker materials. They're super sharp, just like the Olfa knife. Well, this is an Olfa rotary cutter, and they will follow the straight path really well. Whereas a knife like Cal's using is more agile. These are not meant for agility at all. They're fantastic for aligning along a metal straight edge and getting a true straight cut.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and quilters use them against clear plastic rulers. And one of the problems with using an Olfa knife against a clear plastic ruler is because it's quite happy to wander off the straight, it will cut right into the plastic. And if you have a nice sharp blade, it really will cut into the plastic.
And another thing that occurs to me that those things are particularly good for is if there's any topography to what you're cutting, like for instance, like maybe you have some paper that's got, maybe it's a collage that has several different layers and it's got a bit of medium and it's built up.
Or it's got some paint on it that gives it some surface.
Yeah.
This would be good for that. No, Mia, you do not use spring. The blade is meant to be rigid. Yeah. And I just want to emphasize, because Ricky expressed some concern, no ignorant questions, just ask. Right?
No,
because
exactly.
that's how you learn something. So please ask.
We love to share as much knowledge as we can, and if we don't know, we'll tell you. But we are also we'll be like, and then we'll go try and find out, right?
Yeah.
So, share with each other as much as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're quite right about the cutting through things that have sort of surface geography to them, so different thicknesses. This is much better at that than the
something I remember from mountain biking, strangely enough, is if you have small wheels, you're more likely to get caught in things because the wheel will like clonk in and then it'll get stuck. If you have a bigger wheel, it will roll through it. So I think these come with a couple of different diameters, and I think this is one of the larger ones. I think this is a 60 millimeter or something, and there are 45.
Yeah, I think we have both sizes.
This is a 45, so right. So if you're going to be cutting irregular surfaced, bigger is better.
Yeah. Also, these blades are sharper than the kind of larger snap-off blade utility knife things.
Right.
Those blades are not as sharp because they're not meant for precision cutting. But of course, quilters need really precise cuts.
Right.
So this is also really great. Jane says hers is an Olfa 28 millimeter rotary.
Okay, right.
So I think there are like 3 different sizes. Because I think there is a size that's bigger than this.
So, and fabric, because obviously because of quilters, but this might catch and pull the fibers with it, whereas this sort of like presses it in place and then cuts it, right? So it actually means that they don't get dragged along.
Think of this as like a deli slicer.
Or a pizza. It's like a pizza. Like, why do you use a wheel on a pizza? So that the toppings don't get dragged along as you pull the knife through, right? So that's a pizza cutter, but a very precise one for art rather than
precision pizza cutting. Joy says, thank you for caring and sharing so much with a hug emoji.
Likewise.
It's our pleasure, Joy. We have 28 people watching right now.
Cool.
Yeah. We've never mentioned, I don't think we've ever mentioned this, but now that Cal and I have YouTube channels, we need to start learning to do this. It is actually genuinely helpful if you feel inclined to. I hasten to add. If you like the videos click on the thumbs up button underneath the video, and subscribing to our channel is also really beneficial. The more subscribers we have, the more available we become on the YouTube algorithm. Only do it, of course, if you don't mind doing it, or you actively are happy to. But yes, that's why all the YouTubers are always saying, please like and subscribe.
Right.
Because it is beneficial. So
I'm a little slow on that one, so sorry.
Well, so am I. Oh my. We're new to being YouTubers.
Yes.
I mean, I've had a YouTube channel for I think a few years now, just a very few, but a really neglected one. So I have occasionally had some time-lapse videos of live drawing, or me giving a talk or a demo, that kind of thing. But and a few short ones. But now that we're doing these live events, our YouTube channels are becoming an actual thing. So it's very nice, and I think it's possible that a small number of people have actually discovered our channel because there's now activity on our channel. So
right.
They're getting it recommended to them, and that's the benefit. Anyway, I'll stop going on about that, guys. Sorry.
Hardly.
It's all new to you too, eh, Joy? Yeah. Oh, and look, you've got some likes on your video already. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Ooh, that's interesting what you're doing there, dear.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going yet, but
it's also unexpected how you chose to cut out that leaf, partially cut it out.
I was noticing that I was doing too much too expected, so I cut this one out with including and then omitting parts of the grid that it was laid upon. So that was step one, and then I used it to then cut that same shape out of the green paper. And sometimes the negatives are more interesting. So this is very early days, but there's an interesting relationship between the one and the other. So I don't even know where that's going yet, but
that's a fun place to be.
We'll see, though. Yeah.
That's where the fun stuff happens.
Exactly.
Jane says, I'm on Instagram, but not familiar with how to manage it, and frustrating because I can't post from the laptop, only my phone. Need a tutorial on Instagram. Well, Jane, I did run earlier. Were we in lockdown then?
Not quite, I don't think.
Maybe just before lockdown.
Yeah.
I did a 2-session Instagram webinars, which in my copious free time, I'm going to revamp into a self-running kind of thing. But the webinar replays are available if you're interested. Or you can I can add you to the list for when I have my revamped one or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, the first session gives you a big rundown on all the basics, and the second one on managing your account in certain ways, as well as stories. By the way, you may have noticed that video has become bigger and bigger on all social media platforms, and YouTube is big. And that's because the numbers, people out there in the general population, the numbers are much bigger for video than they are for static images. And so it could be a way to engage with people, is to have some video. Mira says, love your piece, Cal, refreshing and direct language in your works.
You're too kind.
Jane says, darn, how did I miss that? Please add me to list. And yes, how can I see what I missed? Yeah. Okay, well, how about I'll be in touch, Jane. I'm delighted you're interested in the topic. I think it was called Instagram for Artists, actually. Oh, great. Okay, you too, Judy. That's wonderful. I'll actually start a list right now.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And who's the second one? Judy Nugent. Ricky asks, so Judy and Jane, I've put you on a list now, and just so you know, I'll be in touch about the replays. The revamped course, I will short course, I will be working on after I take my break. I'm taking 3 weeks after next week, and after this week, pardon me. It's Monday. It's hard to keep track of the days sometimes. Just so you know. Okay. Ricky asks, will you be adding more online classes in the future? All those on your website are sold out. Yes.
Yes.
Cal's got some coming up.
Thank you for asking. Let me make a cut because I can't walk and chew gum at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Make your safe cut.
Safe cut. There we go. Okay. So, in fact, this Wednesday morning is when I'm planning to have 2 more courses short up on my website and available. So one is Collage Explorations the next 4 weeks, and I am giving my current students until then to sign up, but there are going to be spaces because some have said they are going to take a break during the summer, etc. So there will be at least a few spots available then. And the other one is going to be I haven't even got the actual title yet, but the idea is Art from the Garden. So so many of us are using our gardens these days as a place of a sort of safe haven and a refuge, and we're stuck at home, right? So they're getting a lot of our love and they're looking after us. So and I know a lot of artists have been struggling with all the challenges of the year, so it's a chance to be sort of more aesthetic and less conceptual, which is kind of a nice change. That said, we'll be exploring. We won't be just like painting peonies exactly as they are, but that's also 4 weeks. So that'll be on Tuesdays, and the other one will be on Thursdays, and they start the week of July 13th. So I think it's the 14th and the 16th are the starting dates. So watch for those. They will be on my website as of Wednesday. Okay.
Lots more fun to be had.
And Kim is doing a
contemporary mixed media for 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks, starting that very same week, and that is on Fridays, right?
Yes, Friday afternoons, starting at 2 p.m.
So I think it's the 17th. That would be, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will get information up about that. It will be, I've offered it to my existing students first, but Wednesday evening it will be open to general registration, and I'm aiming to have at least basic information about it up on my website Wednesday evening. And by the way, thank you so much, everybody, for your interest in Instagram. I am added Marion and Lillian. Adele, you can just let me know if you'd like me to contact you. And Rena, I'll add you as well. Okay.
Kim is very, very good at teaching, at demystifying technology, and she's been doing it for a long, long time. When I was first out of school and I first met her, she taught me how to use the Mac for graphic design. And she taught her whole art department. So she's been doing it for a long time.
I taught you?
You taught me. No, exactly. I just said.
Oh, I'm
it's
sorry.
It's okay. You were typing. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
So I highly, highly recommend her for demystifying the ways you can use software and to a lesser extent hardware.
Annie Bentley has a question. Will you teach us how to make ink from our garden materials? Just kidding.
That would be cool. I know that you can do it.
Yeah. Not this summer. Let's put it that way.
No, yeah, that is something that is of interest.
Yeah, we're both interested in that. So.
But it is beyond the scope of a 4-week course that we'll be addressing. Because I think that would take up 2 or 3 weeks of the 4 weeks. That's fun. I like that. Yeah,
I like it too. Last fall and summer, I taught a couple of mark making workshops where one was at Nielsen Park and one was at a private residence where we went and foraged for materials to turn into tools to do mark making. And that was so much fun. Just the whole idea of foraging for things to make art with is really fun. And I think that your ink idea, while I know it was joking, I also think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea.
Ricky says, great, thanks for the heads up.
You're very welcome, Ricky.
Mia says, forgot to mention if you want to subscribe to YouTube, you need to set up a Gmail account. Hope that makes sense. Yes, so Gmail owns YouTube. So
Google,
if you have a Gmail account, you can just use that if you wish to sign into YouTube, and then you can subscribe and like and do all those things and comment as well. You can also set up a new one that you use for nothing but YouTube if you want. And that's regardless of whether you have an existing Gmail account or sometimes people want separation between things because they don't want the companies to connect up one set of data with another set of data. So that can be good. And it's free and it's quite easy too to sign up. So just go to google.ca or google.com, depending on where you're located. Joy says, natural dyes with onion skins and vinegar. Yes, there's so many natural sources, and I've actually been reading up on some options and saving some articles for reading later about it. And that's why the question about that garden thing was timely, because I've been interested in that. I have some artist friends and colleagues who make their own pigments. They have a glass grinder made, so it's hand ground pigments from earth, from fungus in wood. You know, when you see fungus changing the color of wood, well, that becomes a useful pigment, and all kinds of natural sources. Nicole Collins teaches a course at OCAD in Toronto. That's Cal's alma mater. That is about making your own pigments, or she certainly has taught that, and she has shared online occasionally when she's been in the process of making black walnut ink or pigment for base for paint. She works in encaustics.
And is it poisonous?
Well, yes. So if you have a black walnut tree growing, you can't plant vegetables anywhere within its root span.
Right.
Because it introduces a toxin. Hyde Park has apparently quite a stand of black walnut trees, and so people are kind enough to, I think, forage for the black walnut she needs to.
Oh, nice!
And then give them to her to make her pigment with, which is really nice. Cole Swanson's another artist who does a lot of this, and he's done residencies or extensive work in India, learning about their some of their painting traditions, but also the making pigments. Philippa, thank you. I see you. I see you would like to be added. I will just add you in right now. So I will be in touch, guys. Thanks so much. Good.
Oops. Oh, Andy.
Jane asks, isn't there a connection between Facebook and Instagram, that they're owned by the same? Yes, there is, Jane. And that actually, there are obvious problems with that, because I think that the value system of the founders of Instagram is, in certain key ways, more beneficial than the value system of Facebook. But Instagram is so valuable as a platform for visual art and so on that I know my feed in particular has been a delight to me over the time I've been on Instagram. You know, the feed I receive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean my own feed that I'm sending out into the world. Yes, and it creates some efficiencies if you have both a Facebook and Instagram account and you're posting. You can post to both simultaneously.
Yes, which that is very useful.
Yeah, joy.
Especially for those of you, I am not a social media. I'm not strong on it. Let's put it that way. So the fact that I can post on Instagram and then just hit a thing to say post also to Facebook, that's very helpful.
Yeah. Which will be covered in the Instagram course.
Of course. No pun intended.
Joy says that's useful info. Google and Facebook go together. Yeah, so Google and Facebook are separate. They're two giants, each of which also own other media. So Google
and
owns
YouTube. Yeah.
Facebook owns Instagram.
Yeah.
Judy said, would you please provide your website? I would be delighted to. So it still has the old course information up, although it does have the current information for the virtual studio parties, Judy. And I'll just put it in here. Can you, can someone confirm in the chat that you can see that link that I've just posted?
Yeah.
Okay, Cal's just confirmed. Thank you, Cal.
You're welcome.
And so just replace the square bracket dot square bracket with an actual period, and in both cases, and then you'll go to my website. As mentioned in previous YouTubes, we can't post actual functioning links, or YouTube just filters it out as spam. Okay, and I see, where are we here? Philippa, Judy. Okay, I've done that. Philippa says, thanks both of you for sharing so much information ongoingly. Is this the last jam for a while? Well, I have a virtual studio party coming up on Saturday, so I'm but you're teaching on Monday.
I am going to keep going for I do need to take a little break somewhere, but I haven't figured out where that's going to be. I will be doing it next week. I'm teaching in the morning until 1, so I'll have wolf down a quick lunch, and we'll have our collage jam afterwards.
Yeah. So do come back next week.
So come back next week.
Happening.
And I haven't figured out. I am going to take a break, but it's going to be a short one, and I'm not sure whether it will be in the early half of the summer or the second half. And it'll probably be a week or two, because I love doing this. I want to keep it reasonably consistent, but there will be a break at some point.
Well, you might need to take a 1-week break overlapping with my break.
Right.
Yeah. And then.
So I will get that figured out, and I will let you know ASAP. And what I can do whenever there is a break is I can post a couple of prompts ahead of time, so that you can keep going if you want, right? And if you don't want, you can just like skip those and just join it back again when it's back on.
So I'm just going to say this verbally instead of in the chat. Mira and Francoise, I have added you to the list. Thank you very much for the Instagram. And yes, Jane, isn't that fabulous that you can post simultaneously? Mia says she would also like to learn tips and tricks about Instagram. Okay, so Mia, I'll add you to the list then. Let's get that. What's Mia's last name?
Horakova, isn't it? Horokova. Horakova.
Okay.
I think that's right. Correct. Okay. Mia, you could just type it in, and just Kim can double check it.
Let's see. Lillian, you don't see the website? It's right above Mira's post saying add my name, Kim. It doesn't, it has square brackets in it where the periods should be.
Yeah.
No, Jane says she doesn't see it either.
It should be right under Jane's, oh, I like that, posting simultaneously.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's showing up on mine, but maybe not on other people.
Nobody sees it. So, okay, obviously the YouTube algorithm's gotten really sophisticated.
Okay, so why don't you?
I'll write it out on.
Write it out, and I'll hold it up.
Yeah. Can you pass a Sharpie or something? Yeah, that's even better.
Sorry.
Sorry, dear. That's so annoying.
I mean, the other thing that I could do is I could type it in. I think if the person who's actually doing the streaming, let's try that.
Okay, so Cal has just entered it. If you could check to see if you can see it. In the meantime, I'll still hold up this handwritten one,
yeah,
just in case there's any issue.
Are you all right there?
Okay, so that's KimLeeCo, no hyphens, no spaces, .ca. And co is spelled K-H-O, not K-O-H, which sometimes people mix up.
Good. Okay.
It worked?
Yeah. Well, so whenever we're doing that, we have to do it on the computer we're streaming from. Yeah. So that makes sense.
Thanks for letting us know,
Thanks,
everybody.
Guys. Yep. You know, we're learning this stuff too as we go along.
Yeah.
So.
And just FYI, if you accidentally type in kimleeco.com, that should also get you to my website.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, Google and YouTube.
Yeah. The overpowering powerful ones.
Philippa says, good to hear, smile. And Joy says, thanks, Cal. Looking forward to it so much.
And which is that in referring? Oh, maybe the courses. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, my brain is obviously tired. I'm not
Not agile.
not with it
Yeah.
the way I want to be.
Oh, Mia had a great suggestion.
Oh,
Putting
what's that?
3 dots in place of 1 dot. So then it looks like an ellipsis. So
Oh,
YouTube doesn't filter it.
Well, why don't you give it a try right now?
Yeah, well, she's actually done it for me. So
well, there you go. So it obviously works.
So everybody, she's put it in Tango, but Cal's already put it in there.
Yeah.
So that works too.
Right.
Great, thank you, Mia. I've got your name spelled correctly and everything. Yeah. So I have said it. So thank you, Jane. Joy says it's not on my iPad. Now it is here, according to Mia. Got it.
Okay.
Good. So hopefully, Joy, it did show up. Yes, she does say later she got it.
Okay,
excellent. Valerie says, sometimes things move so fast. Not sure if you saw that I would like to do the Instagram course too. Thank you, Valerie. I did not see that. And
yeah, and they do move fast when everyone's typing stuff. So yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. And let's see what else we've got here. Jane, what's Cal's? I always see him on Facebook, but not sure of his website. Oh, definitely.
I will put it up in a second, but
I can put it up with the triple dots.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. So it's basically my name.ca, calhoney.ca. So it's reasonably easy to find.
Can you confirm that you can see that, guys? I've put triple dots where a single dot should be. I know there's a little bit of lag time.
There it is, yeah. And it comes up as highlighted my name, which is
goodness gracious. It's 3:37 already. This
Holy
chat has just been on fire today.
And Annie, you want to see what I've been working on?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, so it's work in progress as usual because lots going on.
By the way, thank you everybody for letting me know you can see it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So this one is very much work in progress. I'm just trying to hold a piece of white paper so you can actually see it a little better.
Your green piece.
Oh, I don't know where this is going yet.
Right.
Maybe over here, maybe along the bottom, and something's got to go up there, but I don't know what yet. This one, I kind of feel like it's getting closer to being done. Sort of a graphic thing, not surprisingly.
Ooh, very sexy in a design sense.
I'm kind of liking the sort of negative partial bits. So
yeah,
not positive exactly whether that's it's somewhere gonna be down in this corner, but I'm not sure exactly yet.
I love the white negative that's happening right now.
Yeah,
that's really gorgeous.
And actually it'd be nice to have a little echo of it over here. So, you know, I'm looking at it this way, but when I see it there, I see it backwards, and I also see it at a distance a little bit strangely. So that's like holding it up to the mirror to get a little better view of something.
It's great perspective.
Yeah. So I think
Jane says, like the green along the bottom. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Thanks.
Mia says, love you guys. Thank you for your generous time, your beautiful personalities, your inspiration. Love the starts of Cal's Trees collages.
Why, thank you, Mia. Yeah.
Just making our hearts grow bigger and bigger and softer. Francoise says, great design. Yeah, seriously, right, Francoise? He's an amazing designer.
Oh, you guys are too kind.
Annie says, love them. And Jane says, love the graphic one. I would have liked to do one like that, but couldn't get it together for that.
different strokes for different folks. And, you know, if it inspires you to try something like that, that's great. But
and we're all different in the moment,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, on any given
some
time.
days I'm more graphic, some days I'm less graphic, and I'm more in the graphic side of things just because of my nature, right? So there's no thou shalts, right?
Philippa says, love the maple leaf one a lot.
Yeah. I think it's coming together.
Françoise says, thanks for a fun afternoon with fresh ideas. Thanks so much for coming, Françoise. Yeah. We look forward to seeing what you post next.
Yes, always.
That tree of life. Very excited. If you kept on with that idea, which I suspect you will. Philippa says, have a great evening, everyone. Smile. À la prochaine.
À la prochaine.
And Lillian says, thanks for being so generous. Would also like to see how to include Twitter in the mix. Yeah, okay. Noted.
Noted, yes.
I will actually write it as a note in my next to you. Okay. Stacy Sinclair. Finally made it this week and wanted to say hello to everyone.
Yeah, welcome aboard, Stacy.
Great.
Yeah. How's the you're taking the TSA course, right? How's it going? The pieces you posted looked great.
Joy says, love it, Cal. Like the negative spaces designs. That leaf will live on for a long time. Thanks, KK. And she's got a string of really beautiful emojis. So heart eyes, cherry blossom, hug, and a little tree branch. Aw. Thanks so much for being with us, Joy. It is 3:42 now.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably wrap up shortly, but not before. Everyone, please, if you wish to say something before we wrap, please go ahead. Stacy says, it's going great. I'm really enjoying it.
Oh, good. Yay.
Yeah. Eric Cal's done some cutting out there, I see. So you're going to hold up the revised version.
So I had, I just thought it would be more interesting to have the grid showing on the top part, but not on the bottom part. So, but still figuring out the position, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine tuning to come.
Yeah.
Judy says, thanks so much, Cal and Kim, for all the great ideas and great company. I love this session.
Us too, Judy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You guys rock it here in the chat, I must say. It's wonderful with the questions and the comments. And
yeah.
Fantastic. You keep me busy.
Yes. Kim's fingers have been flying and lots of questions, which is good. Y'all always keep the questions coming. And yeah, I guess we're past done. But thank you. I hope some of you consider taking on the National Arts Drive. There's not too much to it. You could just put some stuff out for people to see. Very few exhibiting opportunities these days, so why not, right? Anyway, I'll be posting pictures from mine, and hopefully we get good weather. And we'll be back a week today, and I will try and get that get the prompt out to you sooner than I have been. So maybe tomorrow or Wednesday. Let's go for Wednesday. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Adele has a question.
Yeah.
And thank you, everybody who's thanking us and saying lovely things. Do you have to register for it, though? Adele, are you asking that in relation to the Instagram for artists?
Yeah. So obviously,
or for CALs or
for our courses. So Kim is just taking notice, like taking note of who's interested for the Instagram. She hasn't got dates for that yet, but she's noticing that, taking note of that.
I will be contacting everyone who's expressed interest.
Yeah.
And it would be because there are replay videos, you don't have to be anywhere specific at a specific time. You can just watch it whenever. But there are enough people that if most of them decide they'd like to do it, I might do it as a live offering with replay videos. And in both cases, it's a paid offering. So one, you register. Oh, the show on Saturday. That's what Adele was saying.
Right.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry,
yeah,
Adele.
no, it's just the nature of the. So you register your at National Arts Art.
National Arts Drive.
NationalartsDrive.com.
I'll post the link again.
Yes, and you do fill in a few details. I think you show one image, your website, your links, and it's relatively straightforward. And then you're on their map, and that's all you need to do, and then exhibit on the Saturday. So yeah.
So National
Arts Drive.
Artsdrive.com.
Yeah.
So I'm putting triple dots where a single dot should be.
As our usual trick
so that
these
should
days.
show up in your feed any moment now.
You're very welcome,
You've got
Adele.
it.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Sorry for the confusion there, Adele.
Sorry.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
right.
good.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. We'll see you. Take care.
Have a good week.